asked about homework number 4, question 5. Now, question 5 is the same as question 2, okay? So we have this equation in standard form, and it says decide whether or not the equation below has a circle. So what it's saying is it a circle? Is it a circle? Or if it's not, what does it look like? Well, if it's not a circle, then it might be a point. And if it's not a circle, it could be nothing, okay? So how do we find that out? If my radius is equal to a positive number, then we know it's a circle. If our radius is equal to 0, it's a point. If our radius is a negative number, then we know the circle does not exist. So what we have to do is we have to put this into center radius form, and then the radius will tell us if it's a circle, if it's a point, or if it's nothing, not a circle. So let's put it in center radius form. So first I'm going to put my x's together. And I leave a space. Now I put my y's. And I put a space. And then I put this constant term to the other side. And when you move it to the other side, it becomes the opposite sign. So normally we would just here take this and complete the square, but we have to have a 1 in front of the x in order to do that. So what I have to do is I have to take out the 81. So if I go 72 over 81, maybe I can simplify it. So let's just check. 72 over 81 is the same as 8 over 9. So I'm just going to write 72 over 81 equals 8 over 9. So I'm not going to write 72. I'm going to write the more simplified version. 8 over 9, x, and then the space. Then, oh, this has to have a 1 in front of it as well in order to complete the square. So I'm going to take out the 81. Oh, it's 70. I have to take it 72 divided by 81, which is the same. So I can just go 8 over 9y, because look, 81 72, 81 72, it's the same. Except for this is a minus and this is a plus. Leave the space, equals 32. Okay, so now I get to complete the square. So I'd go 8 over 9 divided by 2. That looks weird. It means 8 over 9 divided by 2 means take half of 88 over 9. So another way to write it to make sense is to say I want to take half of 8 over 9. So I can write it, say it was a nice number. So say it was 10. I can go 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Or I can go, what's half of 10 equals 5. So normally we write it this way, but because this is already a fraction, I'm going to write it this way. So I have to take half of this and square it, but it's fraction, so I don't want to play with that. So I'm just going to go half, oops, plus, did I say, oh, times, whoops, times 8 over 9. Bracket squared. 16 over 81. So now I usually just add this to the other side, but because this is this multiply this, this multiply this, this multiply this, so really I have to take this 81, multiply it by this, and then add it to that side, because really I have this big new number on this side, so I need this big new number on this side. There. So now I do the same for this one. So I usually take half of this, and square it. But we know that answer. It's 16 over 81. Oh, that should be a plus there. So I would normally add this to the other side, but because I've taken out the 81, I have to put the 81 back in when I add it to this side. 81 over 16 over 81. Okay. Wow, this is a long question. So now I need to factor this. So to factor that, I take the square root of the first thing, which is x. I take the square root of this. So what's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of 81? 9. So then if there's a subtract, I put the subtract, and I have to put the 81 back in the front. So now I'm going to factor this one. I take the square root of this and the square root of this. So what's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of 81? 9. And because it's a plus, I put a plus here. I have to put the 81 back in the front. And if you look here, this is really 81 divided by 81. So that cancels out. Same here. So I'm left with 32 plus 16 plus 16, which is equal to 64. Okay. Now we have to get rid of these 81s. So I'm going to divide everything by 81. Same over same is 1. Same over same is 1. So now I'm left with x minus 4 over 9 squared plus y plus 4 over 9 squared equals this weird thing. Let's check to see if we can make it more simple. 64 divided by 81. No. Okay. So now we have it in center radius form. This tells us the center. 4 over 9, 4 over 9. But wait, stop. If this is minus, this is plus. You always have to do opposite. If this is plus, this is minus. And my radius is equal to a positive number. Because it's a positive number, we know it's going to be a circle because it's going to have a radius. We have to take the square root of this. So what times what is 64? 8. What times what is 81? 9. So my radius is 8 over 9. Okay. So because it's positive, I know it's a circle. If this was, say, 0, then I would say it's a point. If it was a negative number here, I would say does not exist. There'd be no circle if it's a negative number. Okay? So the hard part on this is when you go to complete the square, you have to pull out whatever number's in front of the x. Doesn't matter what number it is, pull it out because you have to have just a 1 in front of the x squared. So pull whatever number is out first, complete the square, then you sort of have to put it back in, put them back together, and add that to the other side. So here we pulled out the 81, we completed the square, then we sort of have to put it back together and add it to the other side. Okay? So we know it's a circle because it has a radius, a positive radius.